What is up, everyone? Today is Tuesday, which means that it's time for another live Q&A. As always, I'm your host, Paul J Lipsky. So this is a chance for you to come into the live chat, ask me any questions that you have about dropshipping, and I will do my best to answer those questions for you. We are just a few days away from Christmas right now, and as you all know, Christmas, December, this whole time of the year is the busiest time of the year for online sellers, resellers, drop shippers. It's been pretty crazy. Even this year, a lot of people say things are kind of cooling off when it comes to the economy, but we certainly saw a ton of people still buying items for Christmas this year. There's always going to be people buying stuff for Christmas. It doesn't matter what the economy is doing, and this certainly was a year that did not disappoint. At this point, just to kind of update people, is normally the time of the year when we pull back when it comes to drop shipping, selling products online. We know that if we ship items out to our customers now, or they have orders that come in now, there's a really good chance by at this point, they might not get their items on time. So usually about 1 week before Christmas Eve, I will essentially turn off my stores by raising the prices significantly, and that usually prevents people from buying it. And that's what I usually recommend people doing. So if you haven't done that already, I recommend doing that now. If you want, on the eBay listings, it should say when the item will be delivered. So one thing you could also do is just increase the shipping and handling time of those items. That also works. So that's really clear to the people that they are not going to get their items on time. What I've noticed though is that even when I've increased the shipping and handling time on products, and people will say in the listing that it's going to arrive after Christmas, people will still order them and expect them to arrive before Christmas. So I don't know where that kind of disconnect is happening. I just think a lot of consumers don't read, or they expect 2-day delivery like you get with Amazon. Like Amazon's kind of created that expectation for some consumers, so they'll get mad. Now, luckily, if anything happens, like they leave you negative feedback or open a case or anything, eBay is going to side with you because you did have the right handling and shipping times, and it's just a buyer who didn't look at what they were buying at the full listing, which is not your fault. So just keep that in mind when it comes to this time of the year. Also keep that in mind if you're ever drop shipping from China, because it's the same thing. Like AliExpress, if you're drop shipping from there, you'll put in the listing, hey, this is going to take several weeks to arrive to you. And many people just aren't going to read that. They're going to buy it and still expect it within a week or even sooner. And again, it's not your fault that they didn't read, but it could be quite a pain when that happens. All right, let's get into the questions now. We had an excellent suggestion from Kared saying that, we had some great questions in the chat already. But if it takes up too much time, we're definitely going to jump ahead and answer some of the other questions in there. All right. Okay. What's up, Sean and Irene? Thanks for being here. Thanks for helping to moderate the chat. Reminder to please smash the thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't already. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers. Yeah, we are so close. Less than 3,000 subscribers away. So that's my New Year's resolution, trying to hit 100,000 next year. It's certainly going to happen. But you guys can help me get there just by subscribing to the channel. George, you can always email me, paul@pauljlipsky.com. George says, I heard you once say that eBay dropshipping is the OG. Right now, heading into 2023 and beyond, are you recommending eBay over dropshipping on Facebook Marketplace? Or should we use both, and why? So in an ideal world, George, I'd be doing both if I was you. They're both amazing places to be selling with a lot of customers, but there are pros and cons to each of them. So personally, again, in an ideal world, you want to spread out kind of your risk. Like I said, both have cons. So to kind of combat those cons, you should spread out your risk, so to speak, and sell on both platforms. eBay, the benefit of eBay is that it is the OG. It's been around for a long time. We've been drop shipping on there for a long time, and it's continued to work. And I believe it's always going to continue to work. We're going to always find ways to adapt to changes on eBay, changes with suppliers. We've seen that over the years, in the 5 or 6 years I've been doing this. Any of those changes we've been able to adapt to, and we still are able to make eBay dropshipping work. Has a great infrastructure behind it with different softwares that work with it. So I think it is a solid, safer place to be in terms of stability. Now with Facebook Marketplace, it's still new. Even though we've been doing it for a couple of years now, it still feels pretty new. And we're not really sure what Meta is doing with Facebook Marketplace. We're kind of just like questioning it because they haven't made too many major updates to it. That can be a good thing because it kind of makes other sellers not take it as seriously when they should be, because it is such a huge opportunity and there is a lot of money being made on Facebook Marketplace right now. But I'm glad for not too much competition on there for sure. But the kind of downside of that is like, we're just kind of left questioning what's going to happen with it. So while it's hot now, we're going to definitely be aggressively going after Facebook Marketplace. I love the saying, make hay while the sun shines, because tomorrow the sun might not be shining and there might not be any hay to be made. So let's kind of get all of that in as much as we can now. Hopefully it will continue into the future, but if it doesn't, hey, we can always fall back on eBay for that. So both really, really great places to be selling. Haley says, how often do I have to fulfill orders? Like every day or once or twice a week? Every day you should be fulfilling orders. So you're going to have orders coming in on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. I'm not sure which one you're looking at, or maybe you're looking at both. That's great. But every day, my recommendation is before you go to sleep, make sure you clear out all your orders. Make sure you go into your supplier's website, order those items, and have that process going. Now, if you're dropshipping from eBay and you're using AutoDS, which is the software I use, then it can actually auto order items for you for some suppliers. So that kind of takes that workload off of you. And then for the suppliers it doesn't work with, or if you're not using that feature of AutoDS, you could always hire a virtual assistant down the line to fulfill orders for you as well. So that would be kind of my recommendation, but once or twice a week is definitely not enough because the items have to get to the customers before then. You have a certain window in which the item has to be delivered to the customer. That depends on your settings on eBay. But in order to make that deadline, you have to actually order the item usually the same day or within like 24 hours, I'll say. So if an order comes in at night, you can order it the next day and it should be fine. The other reason you want to do that is because if the item is popular, it might go out of stock before you can order it if you only order items once or twice a week. So it's really important, really a good idea to place orders at least once a day. If you want, what I would actually recommend is placing orders twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening, or somehow spaced out like that. It's not going to be more work because you're just dividing the work in half, but that way it really increases the chances that your orders are going to go through. There's not going to be any back orders of any kind, and that the customers will get their items on time. Next question from Haley says, do you recommend to use the AutoDS bulk lister? No, not at all. Bulk lister on AutoDS or a lot of these other software have the same kind of feature. That's when you basically take like 30, 40 different items, put them into the lister, the software. The software will then list those items onto eBay for you, and you don't have to do anything else. I don't recommend that you do that. The kind of method that I recommend is that every item you list on eBay, 1 has to be thoroughly researched and 2 has to be thoroughly optimized. So with bulk listing, that doesn't happen. With research, you have to actually go onto eBay, maybe using a software like Zeek Analytics, which helps us with product research, and you have to individually find those items one by one. And I say kind of because Zeek Analytics will definitely allow you to find multiple of these items, these like winning items at once, but generally it is at least somewhat of a manual process for you to actually look at the items yourself. You find those items. That research is the most important thing. That is the thing that will really make the difference between a successful dropshipper and an unsuccessful one. And I don't believe just bulk uploading a bunch of products randomly is the solution. It just doesn't work. You want to make sure that you're actually doing that research to find profitable, successful, popular items. So once you do that, you'll then put it into the software, but you then have to optimize it. You have to give it a better title. You have to go through the description and make sure it's good. You have to maybe choose a different main image. Those are all the things that you want to do that just aren't going to get done with bulk listing. So you do want to actually go through each item one by one. And that kind of answers your next question as well. Just don't do bulk listing. All right. Haley has a lot of great questions, but let's get to some of the other questions and then we'll come back to some of Haley's. What does this mean? Cred says, I already have your Chrome extension, your marketplace helper to use for Facebook and eBay dropshipping. Where does your DS Titan lister? All right. I knew this was going to happen at some point. So for those of you who don't know, I have a Chrome extension that me and my team have developed. And what this Chrome extension does is it will grab items from Walmart.com, Home Depot, Amazon.com, even items that you already have inside AutoDS, and it will copy all the information and paste it manually into a new listing on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. So by using that Chrome extension, the marketplace, eBay or Facebook in this case, to them, it will look like you're listing this item totally manually. They won't know that you're using any sort of software. So for something like Facebook Marketplace, this is essential because there's really no other reliable way to list items onto Facebook Marketplace unless you're using my Chrome extension, because there's no API with Facebook Marketplace. With eBay, that feature is available if you want it, but of course you can use something like AutoDS, which will just automatically list the item. So that's what the Chrome extension does. If you guys want to use it and check it out, I'll have it linked up in the description down below. Really great little Chrome extension. Really helps you out if you're drop shipping on Facebook Marketplace or want to do it fully manual on eBay. Now, the confusion here is that there's another company called DS Titan, which I have absolutely no affiliation with. I don't know who owns that. I don't know anything about that software. And it's kind of in this dropshipping space and it has a very similar name to my company, Dropshipping Titans. I don't know. Maybe I should have contacted them about that at some point and say, hey, you can't use that name because it's too similar to ours. But DS Titan, whatever that is, I have no affiliation with that at all. So these prices are not my business. What is up, Kevin in Lakeland? How you doing? Okay. Let's get another Haley question. She asked a lot of questions in the beginning. Haley says, once I start drop shipping, how do I keep track of all my orders? Should I start a spreadsheet? Do I have to do every order? Does AutoDS automatically make that information for me? Yeah, Haley. So if you're drop shipping onto eBay and you're using AutoDS to do that, all that information is going to be in AutoDS. So no issue there. If it's not if you're not using AutoDS, then you can keep a spreadsheet. Or you can also keep a spreadsheet if you want to do extra work, but AutoDS is going to keep all that inside there for you. George says, I haven't been selling very well on Facebook Marketplace. What do you think I'm doing wrong? I'm not sure, George. This is a tough question for me to answer. And when people ask me this, because I don't know your account. I haven't looked at your account. And without doing that, it's going to be really hard for me to answer this question for you. It could be a few things. I mean, you might have it might be as silly as something as you don't have your settings right on Facebook Marketplace. And if you don't have that set up right, then it's very likely that no one's going to buy from you. There's a couple of reasons for that. If you don't have the shipping option, if you have your handling and shipping time too long, or all these little things, then it could result in no one buying from you. If you don't have product research done really well, then the products you have listed might just be random products that no one's interested in. Well, that's not really going to result in any sales either. It could also be an issue of pricing. It could also be an issue of optimization of the titles and the listings. All these things matter. And without looking at your store, I can't really tell, but those are some things you might want to look at and make sure all of that's kind of lined up correctly. All right. How do you get tax exempt? Does that mean you don't have to pay and file taxes? Tax exemption is when you don't have to pay sales tax. So basically what it means is that the short answer to this, the short kind of explanation, is that the person who's responsible for paying sales tax is the person who's actually going to use the item. Okay? So I bought this trackpad right here. I'm the one who purchased it. I'm the one who's going to use it. So I paid sales tax when I purchased it. I bought it from apple.com. They charged me sales tax. Apple collected that sales tax and sent it to whatever state I was in when I bought this. Okay, so that's how sales tax works. Now, as resellers, as drop shippers, we are not the person who's going to use this item. So if I were to buy this for the purpose of selling it on eBay, then when I purchase it, I technically don't have to pay sales tax. And the way that I prove to the supplier, let's say it's Walmart, let's say I bought this from Walmart, the way I prove to Walmart that I don't have to pay sales tax is by submitting a sales tax exempt form to them. And that tells them, hey, this person is going to resell this item. They are a legitimate business that does that. So don't charge them sales tax. They are going to charge their buyers sales tax. And eBay then handles sales tax for you. So all it means is that when you buy items from Walmart or Home Depot or some other sites for the purpose of drop shipping it, normally they would charge you sales tax on that item. But now, because we're sales tax exempt, they don't. And that saves us money that we shouldn't have to pay anyway, because we're not the ones who are going to be using the items. Our customers on eBay are. And eBay will be charging those customers sales tax. So hope that makes sense. It can be a little confusing, I'm always trying to find ways to make it as simple to understand as possible. So I hope that made sense. Porter Leach says, I'm on eBay, but I was suspended. I'm under 18. That could be why you're not allowed to have an eBay account if you're under 18. So that could very well be why, if you violated one of the rules technically, unfortunately. All right. All right. I'm sorry, I just joined. I wanted to ask, where will I get to know the payment? I'm not sure. Maybe you can clarify what your question means, because I'm not quite sure what that means. I can't really answer any income tax questions. That's something that you want to talk to a CPA about, or a accountant about. But generally speaking, you're a single member, I don't know, because you're a non-resident. I don't know, to be honest. Can you start dropshipping with no credit card? You can dropship with no credit card. My general recommendation is that when you start dropshipping, you should really have a credit card. And there's a bunch of reasons for that, Luca. There's many good reasons to do that. But one of them is because when you're selling on eBay or Amazon or Facebook Marketplace, they don't release the money to you right away. So when an item sells, they temporarily hold those funds, and they want to make sure that you actually ship out the items to the customers and the customers are happy, and then they release the money to you. So in the meantime, in order to fulfill the order, the easiest way to do it is with a credit card. You put it on credit. Then when eBay releases the money to you or whoever else, you pay off that credit card and keep the rest as profit. So it's generally the best way of doing it. You can also rack up a lot of credit card points or miles or cash back, and you get the protections that come with credit cards as well. You know, if the item isn't delivered, if there's any problems with the order, then you can always dispute it with your credit card company. So that's why I usually recommend you go with credit cards. But if you don't have one, you can use a debit card. However, you need at least a few $100s in the bank to actually buy the items with your debit card. And then obviously you can replenish that money once the money is released to you. So as long as you have that, like a few $100s, in the bank, then you can at least get started with it. Robert, it's not a dumb question, but I'm not sure I understand. So you're going through Amazon tax exemption through different states. If I don't live in a certain state or not registered there, do I always say no nexus? Yes, that's what I do. Yeah, and then if they ask her registration number, sometimes you have to add one anyway. So yeah, exactly. I think you got it right. All right, let's come back to the top for some more questions from Haley. All right, Haley says, when I purchased the eBay course, should I go step by step and start the course as I watch the videos or do it all afterward? It's designed for you to be able to set up my eBay course is designed for you to be able to set up your eBay store as you go through the course. The course is in chronological order, so to speak. It's kind of like a what would you call it? Like a case study where I'm setting up an eBay store with you. I say click here, so you can click there in your own eBay store. I say enter this here. You want to enter that in your eBay store as well. So I do recommend you follow along as I do it so that you don't miss a step. You're not working off your memory later on when you're setting up your eBay store. And the important thing there is, I really make sure that there's everything you need to know in that course. A lot of other courses, they'll kind of skip the setup process, for instance, of eBay. They might say, hey, sign up for an eBay account, and that's it. And I think that's a shame because there's a lot of things during the setup process that might be confusing or that you can do wrong. So you want to actually follow along with these videos. I made them for you for that reason so that you don't get tripped up or confused. You can just follow. I'll show you exactly what to do. So that's definitely the way that I recommend it, and make it as easy as possible for you. All right. All right, so let's scroll back down. All right. Mohammed says, my shipping option is no longer working. I've been talking to Facebook support. I gave them permission to access my account to fix the issue 2 days ago. No reply yet. So I have heard of this happening, although it's pretty rare. And every time I've heard of it happening, the people have done exactly what you've said, where they've talked to support, gave them permission, and then it did eventually work. It doesn't seem like you actually did, or these people didn't seem like they actually did anything wrong. It seemed like it was some weird glitch with their Facebook account that was then fixed. So I would have faith, that they're going to be able to fix it, but just give it a little bit more time. I bet with the holidays coming up, A lot of people are off of work, a lot of people are taking vacation, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're kind of backlogged on things like that. And this is one of the things I was talking about before, where with eBay, those kind of bugs don't really happen anymore. eBay is a selling platform. That is what they're designed to do. Facebook built a selling platform on top of Facebook, and they're still working out the bugs like this. It's a huge opportunity, so I definitely wouldn't give up on it. But those little bugs can be frustrating, which is why I said, it's probably best for you to be on both eBay and Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, should definitely, any income tax questions, should definitely talk to a CPA about. I know people are starting to think about it now that the year's closing down, but it's something you want to be proactive about and kind of get an idea from them. This is one of the challenges of owning your own business. One thing about being an employee that most people don't think about is that the employee will take money out of your paycheck every single week to pay the government for your income tax. So at the end of the year, you usually, or the next year, you usually get a rebate, what's it called? A return, because you overpaid your taxes usually by a little bit, a couple $100s or something, usually. When you work for yourself, that doesn't happen, okay? So at the end of the year, you usually end up owing money in taxes. But that's a good thing because that means you actually made a lot of money. So it's just something to be aware of and on top of, put some money aside. You can kind of do a very rough calculation in your head. If you know what your tax bracket is, we do have a, what's it called? A variable tax bracket, or that's not the right word. I'm forgetting the name of it. Whatever it's called. But if you know you're like in the 30%, was it like 35% tax bracket? I think is like one of the highest ones. Then just set aside 35% of all the money you make, all your profit, I should say, and then expect to pay that at the end of the year. It might be less than that. And it probably will be less than that because of the way income tax works. That wasn't a great answer, but I hope that was at least somewhat helpful to get you in the right direction. Porter says, can I still dropship under a parent's account if I'm under 18? Yeah, you can. That's what a lot of people, younger people do when they're looking to start dropshipping on eBay, but they're not 18 yet. They'll have one of their parents open an account and they will run that account for them. Big T says, what is your best video to watch for a complete new beginner to dropshipping? I mean, a complete beginner. Great question, man. So the best thing is to join my eBay course because that is everything you need to be successful with dropshipping. But assuming you want a free video, I just recorded one that's literally like the complete beginner's guide to dropshipping on eBay. It is coming out next month though, in January. So I would look out for that video because that one is literally going to be like step by step exactly what you need to get started with eBay dropshipping. So subscribe, watch out for that video because I think if you're looking for a free one, Big T, that is the one you want to look at. So I'm still not quite sure what you mean by this 100%, but eBay takes their payment or their fee from your payments. Customers pay you, eBay automatically takes their percentage of it. I think that's what you're asking me. I'm talking to different CPAs, but I don't know if I can trust them. Generally, if they're licensed to do it, they should be good. I don't have a company that I can recommend or even a CPA. CPA that I use is like kind of like a family friend. So we've been working with them for like a long time. So they're not really taking on new clients. So I can't really suggest them, unfortunately. What's up, Monster? Do you have to have a Facebook account? If you want to dropship on Facebook Marketplace, then yes, you need a Facebook account. But you can dropship on eBay without a Facebook account. You might be thinking about Shopify dropshipping, because with Shopify dropshipping, normally you have to run Facebook ads to get people to visit your website where you're dropshipping these items. We don't have to do that with this dropshipping that we're doing. You don't have to pay for ads. You don't need Facebook ads. You don't have to build your own website. We're selling on existing marketplaces like eBay and Facebook Marketplace. There's already a ton of customers there. So you don't have to build a website. You don't have to pay for advertising or marketing to get people to actually visit that site. All right. At what point do you need an LLC? An LLC is a limited liability company, and what it does is it's like a different legal entity for you. So when you start selling items on eBay, if you just start doing it today, you're going to be selling as yourself. They also call it a sole proprietor, but it's the same thing. You're selling as yourself. All taxes come to you as if it's ordinary income. So you get taxed as if it's ordinary income. And there's no separation between you and the business. Now, at some point you may want to consider, and some people do this before they even get started, signing up for an LLC, or creating an LLC, I should say. And you create an LLC with the state that you live in. You could technically create it with any state, but a lot of people just start it with the state that they live in. And then once you do that, then you are separate from your business. You are you, and your business is your business, and they're separate things. But you have to treat them totally separate. So you need separate bank accounts, right? You can't commingle funds, all that sort of stuff. And there's some liability protection if you do that correctly. And there's potentially some tax savings as well, depending on how your LLC is set up, and some other stuff as well. So a lot of people will generally start an LLC at some point. Like I said, some of them do it before, but not everyone does. So it's really up to you at what point you want to do that. But if you set up a Facebook or a dropshipping business and it starts to do well, then you might want to consider setting up an LLC for sure. Can you tell me what works? What do you mean by that? What works? Tell me what works. Rashid says, what is your criteria for a good wholesale supplier? Great question. I'm glad you asked this. Not enough people ask questions about wholesale dropshipping. So just to back this up for a second, when you're dropshipping, there's two primary different types of suppliers that you can use: retail and wholesale suppliers. So retail suppliers is when you're dropshipping from Walmart, Home Depot, Amazon.com, all these sorts of websites. And the benefit there is that it's easy, straightforward. You can do it quickly. It works with the software that can automate all of that. On the other hand, you have something like wholesale dropshipping. And wholesale supplier is when you buy directly from a wholesale supplier or distributor or manufacturer. So you're not buying from a retail store. It is harder to get set up and to get approval from those suppliers to have them drop ship for you. But once you do, there can be a lot of huge benefits to it, primarily being there's less competition because most people aren't willing to do the work to do that, and higher margins as well, more profit in there because there's lower competition. Now, when it comes to finding wholesale suppliers, there's a few things you want to look for. Some of them are pretty obvious, like you want to make sure that they actually will drop ship for you. Not every wholesale supplier is going to do that. You also want to check to make sure that they don't really charge too much of a fee to have you set up your drop shipping account. Some of these suppliers that you find online when you search for like drop shipping suppliers, their whole business model is to get you to sign up for their dropshipping program and they charge you like $100 fee, and they just make a lot of money from that, and they don't actually really care if you buy any products from them. You want to avoid that. Now, if there's like a small processing fee, that's fine, but you don't want something that's like too expensive on there. You also want to avoid buying any sort of lists of suppliers. Those are usually kind of saturated and usually nothing good on those either. So I would avoid that as well. Other criteria you want to look at is also check what their return policy is. Now, their return policy, a lot of times they will charge you a restocking fee. So that's kind of unavoidable. But what you want to avoid are the suppliers who won't let you return the items at all. That can be a bit tough depending on your situation. If they don't accept returns, you can always have the returns delivered to you and then try to resell them. But it's something you just might want to consider if that is a something that they don't allow. It can be a problem if depending on your situation and where you live and all that sort of stuff. Okay. Oh, other things you want to look at, sorry. You also just want to look at their website, and when you're talking with them, either on the phone or through email, just kind of get an idea of how professional they are. Some suppliers, you might be talking to them and you realize like they don't really have their stuff together. Like you need to make sure that the items are shipped out on time. And if they're like unable to answer basic questions and it just doesn't seem like they're all that together, you might want to avoid them. The other thing you want to ask them is how quickly they'll ship out items. Some suppliers, surprisingly, when you order stuff from them, they will take sometimes weeks before they even ship out the item. And that's not what you want. You want to make sure that they're going to ship out very quickly so that the customers get their items on time. You just really need a few hundred on your credit card to kind of get started. But obviously the more the better. But even just a few hundred at first is going to be fine. And then you can always raise your limit as you do better and better. Hey, Paul, in your eBay course, do you show step-by-step how to set up the account through your LLC? So Giselle, when you're setting up your eBay account, you can choose whether to set it up as yourself or your LLC if you have an LLC. Now, what I don't do in the course is I don't show you how to set up an LLC. And there's a number of reasons for that. One of them being I'm not going to give legal advice in my course. I don't give legal advice here on this channel, but I can talk generally about some legal topics. And so I do talk generally in the course about, hey, you can set up an LLC. Here's generally some information about it. But the other problem with LLCs is that the process for setting one up is very different in every state. So I can't include all 50 states in the course. But I usually point you in the right direction. I show you where you can go to learn more about setting up the LLC in your state. Now, assuming you have an LLC, or if you don't, in the course, as I'm showing you how to set up your eBay account, I'll tell you, hey, you want to enter in your name here. Unless you have an LLC, then enter in your LLC's name here. And you want to select this if you're an individual, but if you're an LLC, go ahead and select this. So in that regard, I do show you how to set up an eBay store in your LLC's name if you have one. Okay. You have to appeal it with them and get them to send your funds. You can do it. They're kind of a pain about it, but if you push, again, this guy was suspended for creating an eBay account when he was under 18. But if you push, you should be able to get those funds out of there. Monster, I'm not following you. You want me to tell you how to find products when you're too lazy to do product research? If you're too lazy to do product research, I'm sorry, man, you're not going to make it in this business. I mean, you got to put in the work. This business model, eBay dropshipping, and I'm not harping on just you, Monster. I mean, I see a lot of people kind of comment about this, and I see people making more extreme comments, like they don't want to do any work. They just want software to do everything for them. And you got to realize this business, eBay dropshipping, it really is one of the simplest ways I have found to start an online business. You don't have to build a website. You don't have to buy inventory up front, so the risk is much lower. You don't buy inventory that might never sell. You also don't have to pay for marketing. If the items you list don't sell, it doesn't matter really. So it's very beginner friendly. You can do it from anywhere in the world, and you can do it as long as you have a laptop and an internet connection. You can do it while sitting on your couch if you want, right? So it's very simple, but simple doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean it's going to be passive on day one. You have to put in the work. I worked really hard to build up my eBay store. And every time I started a new business, whether it was Amazon or Facebook Marketplace or this YouTube channel, I put in a lot of work to get all those set up. Now, I had a disadvantage because I didn't have a good mentor to teach me how to do all this. And hopefully myself and other YouTubers who are talking about eBay dropshipping are able to kind of provide you with some of that help to make your life a lot easier. Also, I didn't have the software back then when I started, and that software exists now because it's been made by other people and my own software as well. So it's definitely become easier in some regards, but you still have to put in the work. You still have to be the one who actually is going to get that engine going. And I think that's a good thing, because if it was simple and it was easy, then everyone would be doing it and it wouldn't work anymore. But because there is work that's required to get this going, and most people are too lazy to do that work and don't actually want to put in the time to do it, then most people aren't going to do drop shipping. But you and I are here. You're here with me because you are willing to do that. You understand that there's no get rich quick business out there that's real. You want to actually put in the work and build a business that works. So you're starting somewhere that is going to work for you. It is simple. It isn't as complex or difficult as all these other businesses, but you still understand that it is going to require work. So product research is one of those places in your eBay dropshipping business where it does require the most amount of work, because that is the number one skill, the most important thing. If there's any sort of secret sauce when it comes to all this dropshipping and make money online stuff, it's product research. So that is the thing that you have to put the time in to master. And if you're able to do that, that is literally the main thing that makes a difference between successful dropshippers and unsuccessful ones. The successful ones master product research, because if you can figure out that part, everything else is just going to fall into place. But it does require you work to do that. Again, there are ways to make that easier using software like Zeek Analytics, but you have to be the one that actually puts in the work to do it. Yes, exactly. You don't have a registration number. That means you have to register with your state. So if you're trying to become tax exempt, you have to register with your state. And it sounds like you haven't done that, I'm guessing. Or I'm maybe confused by your question. What matters most for the customers, cheap price or fast delivery? Both. I mean, customers want both. I mean, the good news is that this question's almost a bit moot, meaning it almost doesn't matter, this question, because every supplier you're going to be working with is going to provide fast shipping. If you're working with retail suppliers, Walmart, Home Depot, Amazon, Wayfair, all these ones, they're going to provide fast shipping. So it's not something that you have to, compromise on. So I wouldn't worry about that at all. That's kind of like the norm, the standard these days. She wants to know, what's the best method to find wholesale suppliers? So there are a few methods that I recommend in my course. For those of you who don't know, when you join my eBay course, you'll also learn how to dropship using wholesale suppliers. So there are a few different methods in there that I recommend. Some like the better ones are definitely in there, but this is an okay one to start. If you go over to inventorysource.com, Inventory Source, it's free to sign up, and they'll give you basically a list of different wholesale suppliers that you could potentially drop ship from. Now, it's not the best list because, quite frankly, everyone knows about it, so it has become a bit saturated. So it's better to go out and find those suppliers on your own, but it's not a bad place to start. No worries. I'm just glad you're here. Yeah, I hope everyone, I should have kind of led with this. This is the last live stream before Christmas. I know there's a lot of other holidays, like my family celebrates Hanukkah. So Hanukkah's already started, and there's a lot of other holidays coming up this time of the year. So I really want to wish everyone a happy holidays. And I think I'll see you all before the new year, though. But we're not done here today. We still got some time to answer some more questions. Just sometimes I could be like all about business. So thanks for the reminder to wish everyone happy holidays. How much do I need to start your course? Not much. So you'll need the cost to enroll in the course. There is a payment plan, though, if you're looking to kind of spread that payment out. There's a payment plan. After that, you could sign up for my eBay course. You'll need software like AutoDS, and that's fairly inexpensive. And then signing up for an eBay account is free. And, that's kind of all you need when you start out, honestly. So it's just the cost of the software every month, which is like $20 or something every month. So it's not much. And there's like a $1 trial for it. So you'll be pretty good for a while. Sweet. I love the networking in the live chat. What if there's no buy button or button for buy now in Facebook Marketplace? Is it because of my country? Can I solve it some way? Yeah, so it sounds like it's because of your country. When you're dropshipping on Facebook Marketplace, what you really want is the shipping option. You'll know if you have the shipping option when you go to your listing, and at the bottom there's a blue button that says buy now. If you have that, then someone can click that button, enter their credit card information right there on Facebook, and then you can have your supplier ship the item to the customer. Without that buy button, you're not going to make as many sales. Now, that buy button is only available to sellers in certain countries, mostly the United States. So if you're not from the United States, you're not going to get that buy button. And there's unfortunately no way to solve that. They're going to be rolling it out to more countries in the future, but it's not available right now. Yeah, so I wouldn't worry about this, man. So Monster says, I'm more of an innovator and can create a ton of products, but I'm bad at marketing. So that's great, man. Maybe down the line, you might want to create your own products, like a lot of people do when they sell stuff on Amazon through their FBA program. But that is really difficult, creating your own product, and it's expensive. The only way that I've seen that has consistently gotten results for beginners is drop shipping, because with drop shipping, you don't have to create your own product. You're selling existing products from existing brands that people already want to buy. Okay. Or it can kind of be off-brand products that people are already buying. So instead of trying to invent something and get people to want it, why not sell people what they already want? So it just makes your life a lot easier. Plus, when you're building your own product, you're putting all your eggs in one basket. All this money, all this to build a product, all this money for marketing, and it's possible no one will buy that product, and you're out all that money. With dropshipping, you're listing up maybe dozens of items for sale. You've done research on them. You see that people are already buying them. Hopefully, most of those items are going to sell. But if some of them don't, it doesn't matter. You haven't purchased the items already. If they don't sell, just delete them from your store. There's no harm there. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. The risk is much, much lower with that. So that's why it is so much more beginner friendly to start that way instead of trying to create your own product. Sweet. Awesome. Now, it's not an EIN. It's actually you have to register with your state for sales tax. You got to get a sales tax certificate with your state. Oh yeah, Giselle. So Giselle says, do you also expand on Zeek Analytics and AutoDS in your course? 100%. So those are important parts of the course. Like, I mean this, like everything you need to know about eBay dropshipping step by step is in the course. So I show you how to set up your eBay account. Again, I say click here, you're going to follow along and click there. I'm going to say enter in this information here. You're going to enter in that information on eBay as you're setting it up, watching the video of me setting up an eBay store. Then I show you how to sign up for AutoDS, how to do all the settings correctly, how to use it. Same thing with Zeek Analytics, which helps us with product research. So it's literally step by step, fully comprehensive, everything that you need. And there's nothing left out of that course. It's everything. And again, if you guys are interested in joining that, the link to join the eBay course is in the description of this video for you to check out. Let's see. Jake says, thoughts on running Facebook ads to marketplace listings? I advise against it. Facebook ads are really expensive. They're very difficult to get right. And the cool thing is that now with Facebook Marketplace, people are going onto Facebook Marketplace for the purpose of buying stuff. Okay? So they're there ready to buy. Just got to put the items in front of them. If you run ads from Facebook using Facebook ads, oh wait, where'd your question go? From Facebook using Facebook ads to Marketplace, the danger there is that someone clicks on that ad, they end up on your Facebook Marketplace listing, but they're on Facebook Marketplace now. It's very easy for them to go and look at other items on Facebook Marketplace. If you're going to be running ads like that, you should send them to your own website where they can only buy items from you, quite frankly. Otherwise, you're just wasting your money. You don't really, the more important thing is you don't need to be running expensive Facebook ads or any sort of ads for Marketplace. There's so much organic traffic, so much traffic on Facebook Marketplace that you don't need to drive more traffic. There's plenty of it. Sandy says, do you have a side charge to get you to go to my store and take a look around? I've done this in the past, Sandy, but I haven't had time. Right now, I guess I do have some time now that we're kind of like off the Christmas rush. So I'll think about it if you want me to do it, but there is a separate charge for it. You can email me, paul@pauljlipsky.com, and we can talk about that and see what might work. And the purpose of that, like what I would do is look at people's stores, make sure they have everything set up correctly, look at their items, tell them what they're doing wrong with their items, what's working for their items. It can kind of give them some really valuable feedback by actually going in and looking at their store. Where did I leave off? Jake had another question. Where'd it go? I love eBay dropshipping. It has helped me make so much money. Awesome. I have a listing doing $5 profit with an $8 cost per sale. I want to scale that up. Yeah, so that's what I mean. I mean, Facebook Marketplace, that's what you can kind of get with it. You can have an $8 item, get you $50 profit, just like it's working for you. You can, so in that case, because the margin is so large, you could run, you could promote it on Facebook Marketplace itself. It would be a lot cheaper. You might want to go that route. The other thing I would look at is, okay, that item is doing well. Are there similar items? Look at that item on your supplier's website. Do they have it in a different color or different variation? On the website, a lot of times it will say, hey, if you purchase this item or you like this one, you might also like these items. And you might want to list up those items as well and do a similar pricing scheme with those. I would try that or try the boost. If you really want, I again, have never seen the need to use boost, so haven't used it. But that's something for that much profit in there, you could afford to test it out and see if it works for you. Oh, that's exactly what you just asked, yeah. All right, so running out of time here. Yes, we are live, but just for a couple more minutes. All right. So I just want to thank everyone for hanging out and asking such great questions this week. Have a really happy holiday, everyone. I'll see you next week for the next live Q&A right before New Year's. And I look forward to seeing you then. Happy holidays.